Okay, so welcome to class, and we have Rafa here with us at the moment. So today this is kind of part 2 of a class that I started in May. It's called Verb Patterns, but what we're actually doing is talking about different ways in which we write the sentences, and so it's just the structure. It's not necessarily verb patterns, but of course verb patterns are included in this. So what I was thinking about doing is just going, like, reviewing basically. Reviewing, sorry, I'm just looking for, where is it? Just one moment. It's not here. Let me move something. Here we go. Okay, so what we're going to do is just review a little bit of what we saw the first time, very quickly, basically, and then we'll continue and hopefully finish today. Okay, if not, I suppose, it's obviously not a problem, but yeah. Okay, so gerunds and infinitives. What do you know about gerunds and infinitives, Rafa?
About gerunds, I think that's when we normally use a verb as a noun. I think it's something like that. And, we're using, I don't know, an action in progress as a noun, I think.
Okay, sometimes, like in the first sentence here where it says after preps or prepositions, I gave up smoking. Smoking is in the ing form. Gerund just means that it's in the ing form. Okay, and so what they're saying after prepositions, when we have a verb, we have to use the verb in the ing form. So this is a verb in this case. But yes, smoking alone in a different context is the noun. So it is quite confusing, but this is pure structure, okay? The same as here is when we have the subject of a sentence that is an actual verb and there's no person involved. We have learning, for example, learning English can be fun and it also can be difficult. So here, there's no person. It's not saying you think English is fun or something like that. It's just learning in general, okay? So we're using it in the ing form. It's purely structure. It has nothing to do with any continuous tense or anything like that. And then the third one we have here, after some verbs. Now some verbs is like the definition of verb patterns, okay? We have mind and suggest. I don't mind helping. Okay, so we have our first verb, mind. And then when we have another verb directly after, we have to use it in the ing form, okay? So this is what it's talking about in this part. Have you seen this? Do you remember? What do you think, Rafa?
I've studied them, but it was such a long time ago.
Oh, I'm sure it was. I mean, it does. You do study this, when you're younger, but then you normally forget it. And then you forget, for example, with the verb patterns here, this is the most difficult part because there's no rules, okay? I mean, we'll see here that it says also after some verbs, decide, need, okay? I decided to take a walk. Now, this is in the infinitive form, but there's no, in these part 3s here, there's no rule. It's just, this is what it is, and that's it, because you cannot say, for example, I decided walking a walk. I'm sorry, I decided taking a walk. No, it sounds terrible to a native because we know it's incorrect, and that's not the structure we use. But again, there's no rules. There's absolutely no rules, and so this is super confusing. Okay? I'm not trying to discourage you.
No, but aren't there any rules? So you have to learn them by heart?
You have to learn them by heart.
Oh my God.
I know. Well, there's a video. I'll have to try and see if I can. I don't know if I posted the video on Intenga on the website on Facebook or not. But there was a woman, it's like Hidden Secrets. I'll have to look it up again. Let me see. Yeah, welcome, Ken. basically she said, you know, there's different, we said call them collocations. Collocations just means that words that go together. For example, bad at, interested in, focus on. I mean, they're talking about these prepositions. Why can't I say I'm bad in or bad on something or interested of? You know, why don't we say those things? Well, because we don't. Because there's a rule that says these are collocations and you have to use this preposition with this adjective, verb, whatever. Okay? Those are the kinds of things that she talks about. And she says that's why learning English is basically, it's not impossible, but it's super, super difficult. Because again, there's no rules. So that I just want to be honest about that and reinforce that idea that I'm sorry, you cannot, there's no rules. So the other ways that we use infinitives in this case are after adjectives. So every time you can say, oh, it's difficult, it's easy, it's something, you know, to study. We always use the infinitive, okay, after an adjective. It's difficult to study every day. It's easy to learn English verbs, for example. And then in order to, such as like it's answering the question why. I went to the shops to buy food when you're saying an answer. Okay, I went to the shops in order to buy food, for example. Okay, so that's just another way that we do that. Any questions about this? Because again, this is the review, so I'd like to do this a little quicker than before. Yeah.
Just to remind me a little bit, you have said these are no rules. So
well, these are rules.
Okay.
But I'm talking about when it in number 3. These are referring to verb patterns, and there are no rules on which structure to use. Okay. You have to memorize the ing or to structure for each verb. So it looks like I'm going to have to do a normal verb pattern class. Okay. I'll have to do a verb pattern class. Let me see if I can add this quickly. Do you have any other questions for right now?
No.
Ken, hi, nice to see you. Do you have any questions about this?
Yes, hello. Yeah, no question for me.
Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is just verb pattern basics. Okay, so I'm actually for August 8th, it's a Wednesday. I'm gonna do verb pattern basics. Okay. So that's in the schedule. So now if we go down to the next page, with hate, love, like, this is in a different order than I normally say it. So hate, like, love, prefer, and continue can be used with both gerund and infinitive. They have a very close meaning. Basically, there's no difference. If I say, I hate to sing, I hate singing. There's really no difference. Any questions about this? Do you understand what they're trying to say here?
I think there is no rule for this. Maybe we need to remember this pattern, like, after the verbs.
Yes. I think sometimes it is emphasis too. For example, you can say, I love to sing. I love to sing. I love singing. I love singing. So that's what they're saying here, so they can use both the infinitive with to or the ing, the gerund form. And there's really no difference in meaning. With other verbs, that does happen. Okay. So let's continue on from here. Like I said, I'll do this kind of a different day. Here we have when the gerund and infinitive, we can use both of them, but they're actually used differently. I mean, they're not the same. So for example, well, Ken, do you want to read this actually? Actually read both of these examples with stop, okay? Can you mute at the moment? Ken, do you know that you're mute at the moment and we can't hear you? Okay, maybe you do. Rafa
No,
would.
sorry,
Oh,
my brother.
Uh-oh. Sounds like Ken's having some technical difficulties today. Rafa, do you want to read?
Okay. The verb stop. Stop plus gerunds to stop a process. I stopped eating too many carbohydrates. I gave up. Stop plus to plus infinitive equals in order to. I stopped to have a sandwich. I stopped what I was doing in order to eat.
Okay. So, do you see the structures? First, the structure is going to be most important, okay? We have I stopped. We can use any verb tense, okay? So this is in the past. And then we have the gerund ing here. Now, in this one, again, we have the main verb in the past tense. And then we have, well, the verb to have with the infinitive, okay? So again, this is only structure. Do we have any questions about this?
No, not yet.
Okay, Ken? Okay, hello? No? Ken, do you think you're able to read the second part about forget and the examples?
I think I lost the screen now, so
Oh, probably
maybe
not.
next time listen to.
Okay.
Sorry.
Yeah, no, that's okay. Don't worry about it. Rafa, do you want to read these? The examples?
Okay. Forget. Forget plus gerund means a past memory. I'll never forget meeting my first ever teacher. Forget plus infinitive. You need to do something in the future. Don't forget to lock the door when you leave.
Okay. So again, this has the same idea that in here, forget is the main verb, even though we're using it with the future and a negative. All right, then we're using meeting, okay, about past memories. And then in this part, don't forget to lock the door. So something you must do in the future. And again, this is in the present simple, a negative. And right after, when you use a different verb, it has to be in the infinitive form. Okay? Questions or let's continue?
No, from me.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. So let's go down then. So now we have regret. Ken, are you able to read at this moment or not?
Yeah, I hope so. Can
Okay.
you hear me?
Yeah.
Okay. Okay. Regret plus gerund equals something in the past. I regret not taking that first job offer. Regret plus infinitive equals something in the present. I regret to inform you your appreciation has not been successful.
Okay.
More? Okay.
No, let's stop here. Questions, doubts. I mean, this is the same thing over again. You know, it's just showing you that we have one verb, and then this is in the negative. When we use the negative in the gerund form, we just use the verb or the word not. And then here's regret to inform. Okay, and again, they both have different meanings depending on which, if you use the gerund or the infinitive. Do we have any questions about this?
Yes. Are all of these rules or just guidelines for?
These are rules.
Okay.
These are rules.
Okay.
But there's other things that I mean, these are rules, yes, but there's no it doesn't have to be like this. For example, if I say, I regret not taking that job offer, this first example here, why? But, this sentence means that you're talking about the past. But why? But there's nothing to say that it couldn't mean something else. Do you know what I mean? It's really complicated. It's not an easy topic. But yes, these are the rules, guidelines that you do have to follow. Okay?
Okay.
All right, yes. I know it's complicated. I'm sorry. It will be okay. So, Ken, if you're able to read, why don't you read part 4 with keep, okay?
Okay. Keep plus gerund equal continue a process. I keep watching the same old movies. Keep plus object plus to plus infinitive equal in order to. I kept his book to read later.
Good. Okay, so 2 different meanings, continue a process in order to, and again, this is just the structure that we use. So, questions at this moment?
No.
No.
Okay.
From me.
Sounds good. Now we'll use need. All right, let's just check this. Yeah, these are the examples. So, Rafa, read need, okay?
Okay. Need. Need plus gerund. Used in the passive form. My hair needs doing. Need plus infinitive. Used in the active form. I need to do my hair. Try. Try plus gerund. An experiment. Why don't you try watching that TV series I told you about? Try plus infinitive. Make an effort. Why don't you try to do a little bit every day?
Okay, so again, same kind of ideas. Do you have any questions with these?
No.
Okay. Ken, can I help you with anything?
Why don't you try to do? Why don't you try watching? So what's the meaning of experiment in this context?
Trying something new to see if it works.
I see.
Okay.
Right.
And when we use the structure, why don't you plus a verb, it's kind of saying, well, do this and see if you like it. It's like trying or suggesting something. Okay. So good. This all of this I'm going to skip, and we're going to go. Oh, wait a second. I think we had left off. Let me just check very quickly in my notes. I think it was number 8. That's why. Yeah, and track number 8 is what we need. So this is track number 8. So Jerome's and Finch's reminders. So we're just continuing kind of the same idea, okay? We use a passive gerund, wow, okay, or passive infinitive to show actions that are done to the subject. Okay, so I don't like being told to be quiet. I love being waited on sometimes, and it's difficult to get promoted at work. Okay, so these are super advanced. All right, so passives. Can someone well, I know what a passive is, but can one of you two, remind us what a passive is and its function?
Maybe function. Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
No. Maybe a kind of function of passive is kind of someone do that action to me or to something. That's a passive function.
Okay, that could be. Rafa, do you have anything else to add?
No, it is the same idea. When it is the subject is not the agent, I think he suffers the action. He's not the who execute the action, I think.
Okay. Well, what happens normally is it's the action that's most important. In this case, in two of these examples, we do have the subject I, so it's, to the person that's speaking. But I don't like being told to be quiet. You could also say no one likes being told to be quiet. So that way you're switching, the subject to everybody, but also in a negative way. Okay, so being told. So what's going on with the structure of this? We always need the be plus the past participle. The past participle is the third column that people like to say. For example, with told, we have tell, told, told. Okay, so tell, told, and told. First, second, third columns. The second column is the past simple. And sometimes the third column is the same or different, okay? For example, we have see, saw, and seen, okay, where the second and the third column are different then. All right. So that's the past participle for all of these. So what you're seeing in the first two is be and told, be and wait, but waited in the past because it's an irregular verb. It's a regular verb. In the last one, we use get sometimes. It's not as common. Hello, JT. Nice to see you again.
Hi, how are you?
Good. We're explaining a little bit passives and gerunds and infinitives. So you've come in a pretty deep grammar lesson right here. So sometimes we use the verb get with the passive tense. This is more advanced. The basic is using the verb to be, okay? It's difficult to get promoted or to be promoted. You could say as well, okay? In this case, get represents more of a process of being promoted. But again, we're still using promoted in the third column or the past participle. Any questions for right now?
Get plus promoted. Not doing the be verb plus past participle became passive.
I'm sorry. Can you repeat that, please?
Oh yes, I'm talking about get promoted. It's
Yes.
the same function as kind of be verb plus past participle. Passive.
Yeah, honestly, this to me is just the verb to get with promoted is an adjective more than anything in this exact case, because we say to be determined, to be promoted, to be happy, sad, it depends on the adjective, because with some adjectives, to be interested, okay, to be interested in something, we would also use this. So this one is not my favorite example. But they're also showing the structure that we just saw before with it's difficult with an adjective, to in the verb, and then to promote. Promote is a verb as well.
Okay.
Does that make sense? It's like I said, I think this specifically might not be exactly correct. The other two with the verb be, I completely agree with, because we can see I don't like, and then we can use I don't like to be told, or I don't like being told. Okay. Now, sometimes yes.
Sorry, I just have a quick question about this last example. Is it correct to say it is difficult getting a promotion at work?
No. And you know why? Because this was this is slide number 8. If we go back to number 1, it's difficult after adjectives. It's this one. So it's difficult to study. So in this case, what we're doing is we're mixing all of these different examples that we saw earlier with more difficult grammar, such as the passives in this case. Does that make sense?
Okay.
No? Do you have a question still?
No, that's okay.
So it's difficult plus the infinitive, but now we're adding another verb tense of the passive. Like I said, I don't really like this example at the end. I don't necessarily agree that, I think promoted in this case is an adjective.
Okay.
Questions, doubts?
No, thank you.
All right. JIT, what do you think? Do you have any questions about this? Have you seen this before?
Yeah, it looks familiar. It's difficult to get promoted, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. But here promoted is being considered as an adjective, right? But
in my
that's
personal
a participle.
opinion, yes, this is an adjective. In my personal opinion.
Okay, okay. But I thought promoted is just a participle form of a verb.
It also is. And so, like I said, in my opinion, I don't necessarily agree with this being the past participle. It is the to promote is a verb.
Yeah.
But we can also say to be promoted. And then in this case, promoted is an adjective because it's with the verb to be.
Okay.
So to me, it has the same structure as this, you know, the to be promoted, to get promoted. Little different meaning, but so this one I'm questioning myself.
Mm-hmm.
There was a different person who made this presentation. So I used this in class, but I didn't make this. And so I'd love to have a chat with her about this.
Okay.
Actually, I know who to talk to about this topic. So I'm just going to write it down. It's difficult to get promoted at work. Perfect. Well, I'm going to have a good conversation, and hopefully on Wednesday I'll be able to explain it a little bit more. For now, I'd like to go to the next part just because there's so much information here. Okay?
Excuse me. I had a question about the second sentence.
Yeah, sure. I'm sorry.
I didn't quite understand the meaning. I love being waited on sometimes. What does it mean, waited on?
For example, when you go to a restaurant and people say, "Hey, what do you want to drink? What do you want to eat?" and they bring it to you, that's to be waited on.
Okay, okay.
They're waiting on me.
So you are waiting for the food to come.
It's not that. To be waited on is when someone basically serves you and does everything for you. You just sit back and relax like a princess, and they do everything for you.
Okay.
So that was a good question.
Okay.
Now I can move on? Okay. All right, so now we're going to look at the perfect infinitive. And with perfect tenses, what are we going to have? The perfect tenses. No idea? Hey, Ken, when you're not chatting, do you think you could turn your volume off? That'd be fantastic. Thank you. So in any perfect tense, present perfect, past perfect, future perfect, etc., we always need to have the verb have plus the past participle. So here, have seen, have visited, and have gone. Okay? Now here it says, we're going to be looking at the structures after would like and would rather, and would prefer and would love, etc., to say that something didn't happen in the past that you wished had, or that you wanted to. You wanted it to happen and it didn't happen. Let's say that a little easier. So, for example, I would rather have seen the Prado Museum. I didn't care much for the Reina Sofia. Extra point for the people who know where these museums are today. So I just want to talk about this first sentence. Do you have any questions? Do you understand? What questions do you have? All of that. So if I say, I would rather have seen the Prado Museum, I didn't care much for this Reina Sofia. JT, do you want to answer?
I think it means that if I had a chance, I wanted to see the Prado Museum, but actually I didn't.
Yes. And now this person is saying they went to the Reina Sofia, but because they didn't like it, they wished they had gone to the Prado Museum.
Yeah.
So this is very complicated stuff today. Rafa or Ken, do you have any questions, comments, doubts? Do you understand?
Yes. Yeah.
All right, that's good. So my bonus question today is, where are these museums, the Prado and the Reina Sofia? Does anyone know?
I'm just making a guess. In France?
Nope.
Okay.
They're in Spain.
Oh, okay.
Rafa, were you gonna guess Spain? Any specific city? Okay, well, if no one knew the country, it's Madrid. These two are in Madrid. So, both, I like the Prado Museum a little bit better, but anyway, both are very good to visit. So, next is, I would love to have visited Thailand last year. What does this sentence mean to you? Ken, you can talk. You can talk. There was just background noise when you weren't talking. So, any idea? When you hear this sentence, what do you think it means, or what is it transmitting to you? Nothing? No one's understanding anything? Yeah, JT?
Yeah, I'll just try. I think it means that, I wished that I had visited Thailand last year, but I actually didn't.
Mm-hmm. Yep, exactly.
Yeah.
So that's it. That's basically it. What about the next one? Okay, I would like to have gone there, but in the end, I didn't make it.
I think same idea, I wanted, but I couldn't. I didn't make it.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So that's it. That's it, basically. So it looks like everyone understands this. I find that a little, that this is a bit too easy then. Because what we're doing is we're mixing the perfect infinitives, the have seen, with would rather, okay? Would love, would like, would prefer. All right, well, in that case, let's go down. Okay, so it says we use a perfect gerund or perfect infinitive for emphasizing a completed action or past action. So, if I say having traveled to a lot of places already makes it easier to travel to others anywhere in the world. So, having traveled. Basically, if I could say this in an easier, simpler way, I'd say, since I have traveled to a lot of places, okay, this is what it's saying. So we're removing since I have, and again, because having traveled is at the beginning of a sentence, we have to use the verb with the ing form, which we saw at the very beginning, okay, on slide number 1, which I can go back to if needed. Questions with this?
I have a question. So
Yes.
instead of saying having traveled, if I say traveling to a lot of places already makes it easier. So what's the difference then?
Traveling, that is just a general statement. It doesn't necessarily mean that you did travel. Let's go to number 1. And this, for example, is what we're talking about, the subject of a sentence. Learning English can be fun. It's a general statement in which learning English can be fun in general. I'm not saying I learned English in the past, I'm going to learn English in the future. It's just a statement.
Yeah, okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
Let's go back. I think it was number 11. So having traveled, okay? So it's using, again, this perfect gerund in this case, or the perfect infinitive, depending on the structure of the sentence. There's so much going on in these sentences, I think it's a little ridiculous to and even to understand it. Maybe you can understand it now, but I think in order to use it, it would be really, really difficult, okay? Any other questions with this first sentence? No? All right. So I'm going to read the second. It's so amazing to have finished school once and for all. Once and for all is like forever. Like this person is never going back to school. So again, we're using the same structure of it's so amazing after an adjective with the infinitive to have finished. Okay. So in bold is where we have our perfect infinitive. Questions about this? Is this really, really, really confusing, or do you more or less understand?
May I replace
Yeah, go ahead.
statement to have finished by finishing, or is it correct?
Well, that they finished, okay? Because we're also talking about a completed action or an action in the past, okay? So completed action or action in the past. So all of these examples here will be talking about the past. Just like this first one, having traveled, it means I went or I've been to a lot of different places already. And because of that, it's now easier to travel to different places. Okay. So here in this second sentence, this person has finished school forever and it's an amazing experience. Rava, please tell me you have more questions or something. I mean, this...
No, go ahead, please.
Okay. All right. No, it's just about the structure of the sentence and how we say things like this. Again, this is like super, super, super advanced. I don't think I've never seen this in a textbook before. That's how advanced this is. So this to me is like C1, C2 level. Okay. It's super advanced. I mean, if you don't have any other questions, that's fine. I feel that everyone today is going to be at the point where you understand it to the most part, but you will not be able to use it because it's so abstract. It's so completely different from what you've seen before. Am I correct with that, or am I? Does that make sense? I mean, how do you feel about these?
In my view, I think it depends on the context, where you have to use it.
Yes.
Maybe we can use this in a formal language, maybe, but it is relative.
Formal, informal. I mean, as far as for natives, we speak like this. And I think that's also why it's difficult, because if you haven't seen this before, obviously you won't be able to understand what verb tense we're talking about and, things like that. So I know this is extremely difficult. But it exists, and so it's important that everyone knows about it. Ken, what's your opinion?
The second sentence means so amazing to have finished. Maybe the person be in the school is in the school forever.
No, they finished.
Okay, finished. And
They
school
finished school forever. They're never going back. They finished university or college, and that's it. They're never going back.
Okay, I got it. Thank you.
And now they feel amazing about it.
Okay, well, I couldn't understand why amazing, but anyway, I got a meeting.
Yeah, they're done. No more. Okay. All right, well, let's take a look at this last one. So it says, after the party, I apologized to her for having taken her jacket by mistake. So JT, please explain, if you can, if possible, what this last sentence means.
Yeah. So after the party, I apologized to her for having taken. So I had taken her jacket by mistake, and then I apologized to her for my
Good.
Yeah.
Exactly. So now here, like I said, all of these, this is all like pieces of a puzzle. And we actually say apologize. I'm going to use the Z because that's normal. Apologize for something. And so in this sentence, we say after the party. Okay, so little time reference, subject, and then we have our main verb. But we also, it's one of those phrasal verbs that can be separated because we put the person in between. Okay, so I apologized for having taken is okay, unless you want to say who. Okay, so then we put her in between. For is a preposition. What happens after prepositions? We have the verb plus ing. And in this case, this is also part of the verb. And then you're going to say why, because I took her jacket by mistake. Does that help a little with looking at it step by step in the different parts of the sentence? Or is it, I mean, do you understand this? Do you think you'll be able to use this or not? Because if I were you three, I probably would say no.
Actually, when I look at these sentences, I understand. I don't have any problem understanding. And I remember that I have seen this kind of structures, when I'm reading an online article or newspaper. But it's difficult for me to use these structures when I'm talking.
Perfect. That's exactly what I expected. Yes.
Yeah. And one thing, if I said that, instead of for having taken, if I said after the party, I apologized to her for taking her jacket, would it be totally wrong?
I'm sorry, could you repeat that again?
So if I said that after the party, I apologized to her for taking her jacket, not for having taken.
I'm just thinking that that's probably said. People probably say it.
To a native English speaker, I just want to ask.
No. It's a really good question. And honestly, people probably will say for taking her jacket.
Yeah.
But it's actually probably incorrect for having taken.
Okay.
Because, I mean, we make a lot of mistakes like this too. Because we don't learn anything about grammar when we go to school. And so this is probably something we do say incorrectly, but we don't know that it's incorrect. So if you do say for taking her jacket, they're kind of referring to the present. And when you tell stories or something, instead of saying he went, he did, he, and all of the verbs in the past, if you want the person, to kind of feel and understand the story more, well, then he sang, he goes, and he does. We use the present tense to kind of put us in a situation. That is what I would probably say is happening.
Okay.
But having taken is obviously the most correct. Oh, poor Ken's having problems today. So.
And is it very common to use, I mean, in spoken English?
I'm going to say it's common among natives.
Okay.
This is not something I've never taught this before in my life. It's not something that is common in intermediate level teaching English. Like I said, before you got here, I actually said this is probably between C1 and C2 as far as learning as grammar. Because it's so natural for a native person to say this. But it really is quite confusing when you look at it from a grammar perspective, especially from people who are learning the language.
Yeah, because I think I have never seen them in any grammar book. But I have seen them, I mean, in online articles. But not in any grammar books.
Okay. Well, very good. I'm just going to check out this next page here. Okay. Okay, well, let's actually, this is going to help. This was your question. So did you know there is very little difference between simple and perfect gerund, the simple and perfect. So we thanked him for helping. He thanked him for having help. So JT, this is your question. And like I said, it's kind of when I said, it's either putting you in the situation as the present tense for the person or referring literally to the past tense. Okay. So with that, I think it's another good time to stop. I think if we can just kind of work on digesting all of this information, it's another good thing to kind of review. And maybe what I'm actually learning is I need to do is, look at these and then actually give us more examples and work on it together as a class. So it's given me some good ideas today to help us maybe not only understand it, but also to use it. But the thing is you don't have to use it. And what happens if you're talking to someone and they don't know what you're saying? So it's one of those 50-50 kind of areas of I want you to learn it and say it because it's very normal for native speakers. But if you don't speak to native speakers all the time, people might not understand you. In my opinion. So well, yeah, like I said, for now, that's it. I don't want to do any other new things for the moment. So any questions or comments? What did you think about this today? Was this shocking? Any ideas? Any comments about today?
No, it was not shocking.
Okay, good.
That I came and I learned because as I told that I haven't seen them in any grammar book, but I wanted to learn them.
Good. Yeah. Well, a lot of people, I'll say something like, oh, why did I say that? And I'll have to think like, okay, put yourself in teacher mode. Where's the grammar? Where's the structure? But there's a lot of things like this in English that we just say. And like I said, it's one of the most difficult languages to learn. And again, I'm going to try and find that video that I had sent. Let me see if I can look in my email real quick. So anyway, yes, I'm going to look for this and see if I can post it on Facebook. JT, are you on our Facebook page now?
Oh, okay. Can you just share the link with me again? Yeah, last time Ken had shared, but I think I forgot to join.
Yeah, that happens. That happens when you leave and then you're like, okay, now my phone doesn't want to work. So anyway, I'm going to try and look for that. And what I want to do right now is just tell you about next class. The 27th. Okay, about work transfer. Okay, work transfer, there's two different kinds. We're going to be focusing on one, which is kind of like within the same company, but there are two different work transfers. So we'll kind of look at both of those, and that's about it. And next month, I've sent my schedule to Thomas already. So maybe my connection is slow. You can't open Facebook. Okay. JT, if you look at just Intenga, you did? Okay. Well, I'll probably get a notification soon about someone who wants to enter. So.
Yeah, I have joined. I think it's showing pending. So I have.
Yeah. No. Open Facebook and search for the Intenga and Intenga group. Yeah, and a lot of the Becky's and ClassLink is there. That's an Intenga group.
Yep, I just approved you, so you should be in there. So perfect. Good. Well, that is all figured out. So with that, we're done. I'm sorry to overload your brains with grammar today and parts of speech, which is probably one of my favorite parts of English. So great. Well, JT, I'm glad you're in the group now officially. Raphael, I don't know if you're in there or not, but no, that was somebody else. Now.
Oh yeah.
No. Well, that's strange. Someone else at the exact same moment wanted to be in the group too, so that's fine. No, you're in, I promise. So good. Well, I will see everybody on Wednesday, hopefully at 3 o'clock Spain time. And until then, have a great day.
Yeah.
I'm gonna try and get some ice for my water. It is hot today. It's really warm today.
It's hot in London too.
That's strange. That's strange. Yeah. Well, let's all go to Brazil. Rafa said it was nice there. Well, a little cool. A little cool. So let's see. Still 24 degrees. I don't know. It's hot. So perfect. Well, everyone have a great day. Thanks for coming. And I will see you on Wednesday. All right?
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.